Right. So, I don't think I need my glasses to watch myself recording. So I'll just take them off, although my vision is blurred. Just as a beginning to my Facebook page, I want you to know enough about me to get a grip on my my sense of reality. And I wanted to start off this post by saying it's important to have some kind of religious foundation. Now, you might be what you call an atheist out there, which is somebody that doesn't believe in God, and it's fine. You know, you yourself have made that decision for yourself, right? And you marry someone who has similar like thoughts, and they declare that they're an atheist too, but you have children. Now, I know what you're going to teach your children is there's no such thing as God, Jesus Christ doesn't exist. And for the greater part of their 9, 10, 11, 12 years, they're going to believe exactly what mummy and daddy tells them. However, along the way, and this may upset you, parents get upset at a lot of different things. Don't teach my child that, don't touch my child, don't put that picture in my child's head, whatever. You know, you're going to come up with conflict. Now, what I'm suggesting is that you take a different approach to your own religious thoughts and just educate yourself on all of the religious ideals and beliefs that are out there. I'd say without choosing one, it would be better to acknowledge all of them. This is just water, by the way. Um, why I say that is because regardless of what you want your child to think or what you think, more importantly, what you think, there's someone out there, right? A stranger, and they're teaching your child something you don't even know. For instance, Jesus Christ. Okay? Don't get all upset with me. Don't go, hit your head and all that other stuff. Just listen to him. Okay? Because he is the biggest hook. He's the biggest bait out there. That could grab your child, that could take your cousin, niece, nephew, grandchild, and snatch them away just like that. Okay, so you got to be consciously aware of the support mechanisms that you're developing in your child's brain. So if one day your child comes to you and says, "Oh, mummy, oh, daddy, I I got told about Jesus Christ today," and you turn around to them and you say, "There's no such thing as Jesus Christ. He's just a made up character. Somebody just made him up," and you left it at that. Like there is no God. You know, you don't walk around thinking that you have to answer to some greater authority because you don't. You know, that sort of conversation and short brief and abrupt like that, which is fair and good enough and well for you. But for that child, if you care about that child, you're going to have to give it some more coping mechanisms, some better coping mechanisms than that. It goes as far as what you know about Jesus, or what you know about God, or what you know about statues, or what you know about wind, or what you know about earthquakes, or what you know about lightning or thunder. How do you explain those things to your child? You go, oh, Mother Nature just brought down a side of the mountain and it just wiped out a whole village. Yeah. Beyond yourself, what is the greater power? What is the gravitational pull to what you wish to express? Now, you might look at your child and think, you're a bit too young for that conversation. Oh, that's nice. That's cool. I've heard of Jesus too. I've heard of God as well. Yep, the God of the wind. Yep, they used to worship the sun, call him Ra. All those things. It's been a developmental process of man and his pursuit to find out how he was created, how he became. And before you start the argument, he came from a petri dish, formed as a microbiome organism in water, turned into a fish, sprouted legs, walked on land, climbed up a tree, turned into a monkey, got down out of the tree, walked upright, and evolved into what we call man today. Or he was fashioned out of clay in the likeness of God, and he had life breathed into him. Those are the two plausible, compatible likelihoods or beliefs out there today. Is there any, I don't think I've heard of any other way that God, that man has been created as to why we are here. We see everything in color perspective. There's a lot to fathom and marvel about being alive, being existing, having clothes on our body, deciding to put clothes on our body, deciding to pattern them with different colors, different vibrancies, different textures. But how's this for a plausible possibility? God created humans both ways. In actual fact, God can create humans in so many different ways that the universe is untold. We're just one planet. You look up in the nighttime sky and you look out there and you think, we cannot be the only ones. We just cannot be the only ones. What's the percentages on volume and the different types of creations on this planet alone? Right? I'm no statistician, I'm no mathematician either, so I can't work it out for you. I'm just going to give you the sum. Out of all the creatures, including us, man, on this earth that are created in the flesh, on one planet, What's the possibility of other animals, creatures, humans being created out there, living out there, existing out there? Okay? Do the math on that one. For me, it's a no-brainer. We are not alone in this universe. This is not just your own isolated bubble. I've thought that for ages. You know, when I was a kid, I was a child, and we had dolphin torches. And dolphin torches were handheld torches, and they're quite decent. They had the big square battery, and you might know the ones. And at night time, you could shine the beam, and you could wave it like a sword. Well, you know what I used to do? I don't know a bar of Morse code, but right from a young age, I'd say about 10. I'm 48 now, so that's 38 years ago. I'd be up in the sky going like this. I don't know what I'm saying. All I understood was the concept of Morse code was long, short, short, and it just happened in flashes. That's me on the earth. Now, what I'm going to tell you is I don't believe in aliens. I do believe in unidentified flying objects, and I don't think there's very much out there that's strange to us. What we've recorded through fossils, what we've recorded through carbon testing, what we've recorded through imagination, even imagination, what we've recorded through just life, just a categorized alphabetical listing of all the animals and creatures on this earth. There's nothing out there that would be, well, it's okay. Let's get something to the idea of maybe 10%. 10%. There's a 10% chance that there's something out there that we've never seen before that we couldn't even imagine. Beyond us, it's beyond. Wow, if one day we saw a point of a percent of the 10% possibility that there's something out there that we can't even perceive, conceive, or imagine. And one day we saw it and we just went, wow. %90 of what we would possibly expect or could expect to see come from a different planet, enter our atmosphere for the first time and introduce themselves, would be in a form that we'd likely know or recognize. Lizard people, thought of. Robot people, thought of. Big, huge triffids and tripods, thought of. Big, huge blobs that consume everything and just wobble all over the place, thought of. You know? Big, huge, gory, ghastly looking faces, thought of zombies, thought of. You know? Uh, There's not much left to the imagination. Wasps, bees, and what are humans basing the imagination on? What they see, what's already created in front of them. Oh, I can see this great, huge, human kind of looking figure with wasp wings, and instead of having a stinger on its behind, it's got two fingers with stingers on them. You know, it's beyond me. It's beyond me. You can just take whatever concept and run with it. So that's my basis for not believing in aliens, because we're already familiar with everything that's out there through imagination, through creation, through identification, through listings. But I do believe in unidentified flying objects. And strangely enough, I do believe in telepathy. I don't know what you think about telepathy, but the idea of telepathy is that you can project your thought. Own it. I want you to buy me a chocolate. And you're looking at someone, or you're thinking about someone, and drive it over to here, knock on my door and say, hey, I thought of you while I was at the shop. I bought a chocolate. Here it is. I gotta go, but I just thought I'd just drop in and drop you off a chocolate. So yeah, that's my thought. I believe in telepathy. I believe I can project out there. I believe anyone can. Anyone out there, any of my friends out there that are in the shop right now, petrol station, gassing up, receive this thought from me. I'd like a chocolate. If you could just shout me a chocolate, being nice as my friend, bring it to me and drop it off, and then go home after that. That'd be really nice. I believe that. Whether it's worked or not, no. But I believe that someone out there that is my friend, not at the gas station, at home, just doing the dishes. Oh, sorry, Isaac, I can't do that. I'm just doing the dishes. I'm busy. I'm vacuuming the floor. I'm making the bed. Oh, I'm just trying to put my kids to bed. None of my friends are at the gas station or at the shop or the supermarket right now. Let's start. I don't know what you think of that theory, but I believe that that is the sixth sense, and we all have the gift. I also believe that it's backed up in the Bible. I believe that it's backed up in the Bible when it says we could communicate with the animals. Now, that doesn't mean that the animals used to have lips and a voice box and they used to verbalize words with their mouths. More reversed, like the other way around. Humans didn't use their mouths to communicate at all. It was all telepathy. And they could communicate with animals, they could communicate with the bird, and it was just normal. It was more normal to keep your mouth quiet, keep your mouth shut, and pick up on what a bird's thinking, or pick up on what a cat is thinking, or pick up on what a dog is thinking. Just having this massive conversation with you. Or you just say to you, what are you? What are you? Yeah, and then the question forms there. There was a certain amount of time where we spent that time in telepathy. telepathy with God, knowing that God existed through telepathy. And the day he cut us off was the day we chose to eat the fruit on the tree. And it carries on. So in the 1,000 years that Adam lived, or the 600 years that Eve lived, or either way around, they learned how to scribe. They developed speech. Theoretically in favor of what the Neanderthal, what they call the Neanderthal, the monkey in the tree got down and started walking theory. Ugh was the first word spoken by man. Ugh. UG. Ugh. It's as primitive and as primal as words can get. If you go and start and putting expressions of amazement, that would have been a big encouragement for language and linguistics. Wow! Oh my God! That was amazing, right? Expressions of amazement would have been a big turning point or development mechanism for language. However, by the time it got to what they tell the story of the Tower of Babel, there was a king. He wanted to build a tower that reached up to the heavens where God was. Now, I can think of one problem because apparently it got to a point where they started babbling to each other. They all knew how to communicate to each other with the same language. You get it? And then one day, they just started babbling to each other. And that's why it's called the Tower of Babel. The story's not in the Bible. There's a few stories that aren't in the Bible. And I found that out just recently at a church lesson. It was amazing. I don't think there's any more I can learn from that particular person. I've learned as much as they could ever need to share with me. But anyhow, they started babbling to each other. No one could comprehend or make sense to each other after all that time of building this tower, coordinating their efforts for the pleasure of their king. Could no longer understand each other, what each other was saying. That explains why around the world we all speak different languages. Because we all departed with those that could understand us and migrated around the world and spoke different tongues. You see, oxygen, the more pure oxygen is, the deeper or the more the effect it has on someone's brain. It can make you quite out of it, so I'm told. So as they're building, and the ones up top are exposed. I can't imagine how tall this building was. But let's just say for just to get a grip on it, there are buildings today that are 500 stories high. And I don't think, not that I know of, that there's been a case of oxygen poisoning, is what they call it, or people getting headaches from working up at 500 stories high all day. They got to go to work, walk into the building, push the elevator, up they go. 500 stories high, work all day, get out of the office, jump in the elevator down to the ground level, and out the way they go again. So this Tower of Babel, it must have been impressive. It must have been tall, huge. So tall, in fact, that oxygen sickness did actually start affecting them. And you've got your lower level workers, your finishers, and you've got your structural designers. And they're moving ahead. And the finishers move up below them. You got people working at different levels at each and every one time. So the people at the top being affected by the oxygen the most, people down second floor, third floor, fifth floor, they're all taking in different levels of oxygen. And it affects their brain, and it affects their communication, and quite possibly some of them slept there and didn't go home. They ate there, and food was brought to them. It wasn't a matter of slavery. The king wanted a tower to build up to heaven, and the people wanted to build them, so they did. He didn't have to whip them for it, so they were fed as long as they were doing what he wanted to do. So that's the deciphering, or my deciphering of languages. If anybody out there's got a better explanation for it, I'd like to hear it. Just remember, my theory is based on biblical, historical scribing and records of historical occurrences. So if you're going to come at me with I don't know, someone drank some water one day and started talking different dialect. Yeah, you're going to have to do better than that. Because I think I understand things pretty good. I think I have a pretty good understanding of things. Now, I don't want to take you away from any of your religious sects, but the gospel's pretty solid. And why I say that, and this is just crazy if you want to think about it, because in the Bible there's a well-known saying: the first will be the last, and the last will be the first. So, in the beginning is how the gospel starts. I'm sure. Let's have a look. I've got it on phone. I will need my glasses for this. So Genesis. Oh, okay. I'm still trying to get. Oh yeah, here it is. The scriptures. Old Testament. Genesis 1. This is how the gospel begins. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. So, that's just a great record of it, right? In the beginning. Uh, where else would you start, or how else would you begin with the beginning? In the beginning. So, in the beginning. Now, where was I? In the beginning. The first chapter of Genesis. So, let me give you a theory that the Egyptians were the first to accurately scribe through telepathy from God with God about the beginning. The Israelites had their telepathy with God, and they referred to Him and communed with God through the Lord. And that's where you got your differences. You got those that believed in the Lord, that was a messenger telling them this is the way God wants you to proceed. And then you've got these people here. We get our information directly from God, so we don't need to listen to you telling us about some guy that's telling you what God thinks we should do. Because we know exactly what God wants us to do because we're receiving it directly from Him. They are the first. They are the first people to record, scribe, write down all the telepathy from the existence and acknowledgement of the existence of God. Until Moses takes off with the book. My theory, and it's only theory, you don't go, wow, he's figured something out and tell the world. Really, I don't care. This is how I keep saying. This is the way I see it. When Pharaoh chased Moses and got to was it the Red Sea or the Dead Sea? One of the two. And Moses parted the waters. And through the parted waters they walked. Pharaoh came behind them and the waters closed and wiped them out. The desperation behind that act, Pharaoh chasing Moses, you have to consider and remember that this guy, he was educated the same as Pharaoh. He was in the same classroom. He was in the same battle rooms. He was in the same battlements. He was looking at the same weapons. They did everything together. They were brought up as brothers. So Moses is the only Israelite with a university master's degree in everything. I know everything. He believes it so much that he has even got the Lord on his side, which just blows them away because he's able to do things. A staff turned to stick, water turned to blood, frogs, plagues, all this stuff. Whoa, whoosh, straight over the top of that. Okay, you can have your people, take them and go. But what Moses did is he took their book, he took their recording of the creation, the beginning, and he knew that book because he was educated on that book through Pharaoh's teachings, his teachers in classrooms. So he knew that book existed. The book of Genesis, I think it goes to Deuteronomy and then Exodus. So he had the beginnings of, oh no, blowing that theory out. Unless there's some other explanation for it. Okay. Don't know what I got to you. I thought it was Deuteronomy, then Exodus. We must bear in mind that there have been books that have been removed from the Bible, and they have done some things. See, this is what my theory was based on. Well, I'll tell you why I thought Exodus came after Deuteronomy. Because the word Deuteronomy is a seriously educated word. Now, when languages and words are formulated, I guess it would take an extreme amount of counsel to have your word recognized as a word. Therefore, this is the meaning of this word, and from now on, if you're trying to mean this, all you need to do is say this word. You have a look at the word Deuteronomy and the dictionary meaning of the word Deuteronomy. Okay, we'll do that. Oh, okay. Oh, no. Deuterono. Deute. How do I get this right? Deuteronomy. The fifth book of Moses called Deuteronomy. You see, now it's even more confusing. Because they say Deuteronomy is a Greek word. Okay. I may be wrong, I may be right, but I'm heading in a direction of discovery. I'm on a journey. We all are. What I'm trying to figure out with you is these guys are the first. Whether it be the Egyptians, the Israelites, or the Greeks. We, however, over here on the other side of the world, are the last. The last to be discovered. The last to be found. So, the first will be the last, and the last will be the first. That's what I've been trying to get at. Now, bearing in mind that we've only been discovered for 200 years, right? And the rest of the world can go back to the year dot before BC. Now, the second chapter of Genesis explains the creation of man. We all know what that story is. He was fashioned out of clay and God breathed life into him. That's the first telling of how man was created. Before or in between there somewhere, 200 years before New Zealand was discovered, someone thought, monkeys. We come from monkeys. However, the Māori, indigenous people of New Zealand, they have it exactly the way that Adam and Eve, or Adam was created. However, there are differences because it wasn't God that created the human. It was a God beneath God that created the human. In the same way that's described in the Bible. He created her out of clay and breathed life into her. Same formula. Exact same formula. But we've only been discovered 200 years and we had that story, no written language. Everything that was remembered by us was told through the mouth and remembered orally. Stories. Just bear in mind how infants, how young we are at 200 years old compared to 1500 years BC. China can record its history 1500, 1600 years before the birth of Jesus Christ. Do I know of the creation or how man was created history that's expressed to us by China? No, I don't. I don't know how the Chinese say man was created. I don't know if they say we come from monkeys. I don't know if they say we come from bananas. I don't know the story of creation through the eyes of the Chinese. It is important. It is crucial. It is seriously interesting to try to understand the creation of man. I believe, and this is just me, for every culture out there, for every different tongue, for every different language, there is a story of creation. And I think we should start matching them up. I know that several cultures, I believe that every culture has a reference to God and a name for God. The God, the one, the creator, the pinnacle, the one on top. So let's go through the ones that I know. In Māori, his name is Io. I-O. In Hebrew, I think it's Yahweh, but you're not supposed to say it. You're not supposed to speak the name of God. Greek, his name is Zeus. Greenland or Iceland, his name is Odin. So the Latter-day Saints, we refer to him as Elohim. Seriously interested in wanting to know what the Australian Aborigines refer to him as. However, I did ask an African what is your name? What is your reference for God? And he said, Mungu. I think he was Zimbabwean. Okay? So these 6 cultural names for God. The same God. The same God. How we remember him, how he has formed his existence in our minds, it tells of he's had a lot of fun with us. It's a lot of fun. He's had a lot of fun with his little human creations. In Greece, he throws lightning bolts and has half human children, and it actually does explain itself, because if you were to read the book of Enoch, I'm going through what they call the there's 15 books that have been taken out of the Bible. 15, I think. And it's called the Armor something. It's like a different text to Armageddon, but it's like they've removed all of the books. But I can't say for sure that is reading the book of Enoch. See, Enoch was the son of Cain. And he had the gift. He had an unreal gift. The kind of gift that would explain how Greece sees Zeus and the goddess of love and all that stuff, and they start bringing out different levels of gods and stuff like that. But paganism is what it's referred to at the moment, like these days. Paganism. God of wind, God of thunder, God of the ocean, God of the forest, paganism. In the Church of Jesus Christ, the Latter-day Saints, they teach that there are gods. We can become gods, but will never be greater than the God creator. So what's the point, really? What's the point of being a god if you can't be the God or great God? Or okay, yeah, but it's like giving us responsibilities, having children and stuff. Yeah. So what I'm saying is the first, if we look at Genesis and how God created Adam as the first instance, then us, only 200 years ago, acknowledging that humans were made in the same way. Clay breathed life into them. The first and the last story are the same. The first shall be the last, and the last shall be the first. Do you see how those two cross over and they become basically the prophecy has been fulfilled? The first is the same story as the last. The discovery of man and the creation of man, and how it was told the first time, is the same story of how it happened the last time. So the story of creation survived all of those centuries, all of those occurrences, all of those discoveries, all of those happenings, and still remain the same right at the end. The first shall be the last, and the last shall be the first. That's just the way I see it. I think, whoa, that makes sense. It took me a long time to try and explain that to you, but really what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to wait time out. I'm hoping that my posts are going to become more interesting and going to have some more better viewing content and not so religiously centered, or just ease up and relax on you people a bit and give you a bit of breathing room. But for now, because it's such a big part of me, I just like to let you know where my frame of mind is. I looking on YouTube and think, oh, there's this crazy guy and he's just going on about religion and stuff and this, that, and the other thing. What I wanted to get to you was you've got people out there with these ideas and their thoughts in their head like this, and they can be so convincing and so compelling that are you going to let that stranger tell your child the way things are and convince them and have them living in some Gloria Vale, some commune brethren, some, there's a lot of different crazy wacko ideas out there. Now, just to end it off, round it off for now, why I've come to like and believe in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is because when I read the Book of Mormon for the first time, as I was reading through it, I'm thinking, but where's the evidence of these civilizations? We're on this planet. These people are supposed to be real, right? And I'm so supposed to believe that these stories happen and this is a true record of history and these people are doing these things and they're referring to the Lord the same as the Israelites did. And I'm saying to myself while I'm reading this, hold a minute, what makes this real? What makes this real? And then I'm thinking, click, hold on. There's 2-3 civilizations on this earth that have just completely disappeared, but they're not called the Nephites and the Lamanites and the Zoramites. They're called the Inca, the Mayan, and the Aztecs. And everybody out there is thinking these people just disappeared off the face of the planet. They were here, they were dominant, they were prevalent, and then all of a sudden they just disappeared and they didn't exist anymore. I think, hold on. Wait a minute, hold the phone. So you've got these people in this Book of Mormon, and they're real, and they're textual, and they're scribing, and they're recording their history. But there's no real physical evidence of them having been on this planet. And hold on. There's these pyramids, and there's Machu Picchu, and there's these huge astrological patternings in the deserts, and hold on. Where is the evidence, the physical evidence that these people, the Lamanites, the Nephites, the Lamanites, and the Zoramites exist? Where is it? Where's the physical? We've got the writings here, we've got the stories, we've got the history here, but where is the physical evidence of these people on this planet? Where is it? All right, I'm ready to believe. I'm ready to go down on my knees and pray. And then you go, hold on, hold on, hold on. Where did these people disappear to? Did they just there's whole civilizations, 3-4 civilizations. The Romans, we know what happened to them. The Greeks, we know what happened to them. They pretty much extinguished themselves. But these Incas, the Mayan, and the Aztecs, where did they go? Nobody knows. And get this. The picturings and the writings and the scribings and the carvings on the walls kind of represent Egyptian hieroglyphics, but they're not. They definitely like it, but they're definitely not. Let me read something interesting to you. And I brought this up last week at institution or whatever class they call it. In the Book of Mormon, First Nephi, first chapter, the first book of Nephi, chapter 1, verse 2. Yea, I make a record in the language of my father, which consists of the learning of the Jews. Hold that thought, the Jews, and the language of the Egyptians. Okay, we know the language of Egyptians was hieroglyphics, and they're still trying to figure that stuff out by looking at the wall today. They haven't quite figured out what they mean. But you got peoples holding babies, and you got reeds from the river, and you got babies wrapped in linen, and then all sorts, crocodiles. So the language of the Inca and the Mayan, we'll call them the Inca and the Mayan for now, because they've been identified, and the Aztecs. The hieroglyphics are very similar to Egyptian. So it says here, and the language of the Egyptians. But the reason why they can't understand the hieroglyphics on the Inca and the Mayan walls, well, one, because they can't even understand the Egyptian hieroglyphics. So until they understand that, they're not going to fully comprehend what's on the Inca and the Mayans walls. But it's Hebrew. The language of the Jews is Hebrew. So if you try to understand the writings on the walls of the Inca and the Mayan and the Aztecs, by mixing what you've learned and understand about the Egyptian hieroglyphics and adding what you know about the Hebrew language, you're going to get a lot further in understanding what they're saying. And I bet you that a lot of these stories are going to coincide and collaborate with the stories that have been recorded in the Book of Mormon, which is 600 years before the birth of Jesus Christ and 300 years after. Now, if you try to put a circle around the times that the Inca and the Mayan and the Aztecs existed on this planet, I am quite confident and pretty sure it's the same age. I could be wrong. Just like my Deuteronomy theory, I could be wrong. But that's the path I'm on of discovery. That's where I'm heading and learning. So, would you want some wacko like me talking to your child and saying, you should believe in Jesus Christ? And if you were an atheist, right, you don't believe in God, you don't want anyone talking to your child telling them who God is and what God is and Jesus and stuff. Don't fill my child's mind with that stuff. You know? Quite seriously. there's a lot of convincing theories and ideas out there that could see your child living in a commune, molested, raped, fornicated. You know, these white communes, and I'll say white communes quite liberally, white people, white man communes, they are committing acts of sexual deviancy that are just beyond what natural, native cultural people would have accepted, would accept that. You know, we did things to people like that, crushed their nuts and testicles between two rocks, two boulders, and watched them kill double over and triple over with pain until they died. But here you are, your white men building these great, huge villages. And they're right under your noses, and they're doing all these things to these children and these people and these women and these children. And I'm thinking, really? Really? You people aren't just going to walk in there and shut them down. You're going to filter through legislation. You don't see anything wrong, criminally wrong with the actual fact, the idea that they've built this commune and they're doing those things. I wouldn't put it past myself to find out that there are judges and lawyers and police officers and politicians. They're just cruising down there for the weekend and having a pick of the pack. Children, babies, girls, boys, teenagers, adults, 3, 4, 5, 6 at a time. And that's why they're getting away with it. You know, the white men are quite a disgusting, filthy race. Human race. They you know, and they continue to do so under the British Union Jack, this judicial system that they've got going. They just keep removing the blockades, just keep removing the stop signs for them to carry on doing it. It's just unreal. If you can, honestly, if you can point out and identify another culture of the human race on this planet that actively goes about setting up communes and just one after the other after the other after the other, it's based on sexual deviancy. It's based on molesting children and fornicating with women. I'll accept it. But actually, it wasn't religious, but there was a people in Africa called the ostrich people. Now, they used to just have sex with their daughters, their sons, their mothers, their fathers, their sisters, their brothers. And the reason why they were called the ostrich people is because their DNA genetic code became so intertwined with each other that their feet used to be clubfoot. Now you'll see or read an accurate description of that in a Wilbur Smith book called Sunbirds. Very interesting book. Just for an adventure read. Sunbirds. Blew me away. Blew me away, that book. Loved that book. Anyhow. Okay, so there are theories out there. What I'm saying is, there are theories out there about religion. There are theories out there about creation. There are theories out there about God. There's scientists about this, prove that, this, that, the other thing, and they can't even prove that white man has built that commune just so he could molest and abuse and fornicate with those children, women, and people in there. You know, it's out there beyond me. Anyhow, I've gone on for too long. I want to finish off by saying, when Moses was in the desert and he went up into Mount Sinai and he come down with the tablets and he saw his people and they were worshipping a golden cow. And the pictures of that, it shows that the golden cow is like big as this room. And they're carrying it on their shoulders. Scale it down. Scale it down. Because if you had a golden cow the big as this room, the tonnage on that thing would just be horrendous. Humongous. So just to bring things into perspective, maybe the golden cow was about this big. This tall. This big. Not as big as the pictures in the books say. So I'm going to get some cameras. I'm going to get a bit of a crew going on. Eventually, within the next couple of years or so. And my posts will go on to being more like making paper mache, creating samurai masks, wooden swords, battles with swords and stuff. So this is just preview content. You don't have to take it seriously, or you can if you want to. You can refer to it if you want to. Yeah. But don't let a stranger be responsible for grounding your child in a definite foundation of Jesus Christ and the existence of God the Creator. Whatever it is, however you think we came about on this planet, monkeys, scientists, clay, life, breath, whatever it is your responsibility as a parent to make sure your child has an understanding of one, who Jesus is, Jesus Christ was, and is, and who God is. Mental health and stability, cognitive development and structure. Don't blame anyone else if your child ends up running off down the street half naked, riding on a pony, draped in the colors of the rainbow. Don't blame anyone else for that. You are their parents. You are their guardian. Yeah. Nice talking to you. I hope I don't have to say this again, because I don't really want to. See you later.